Welcome to Milan, 1495. The Duke has just handed Leonardo da Vinci a massive assignment: paint a monumental scene inside a dining hall. What followed transformed the trajectory of Western art forever. Spanning over 28 feet wide, this mural dominates the wall. Leonardo didn't just decorate a room, he extended its physical architecture, creating an extraordinary illusion of continuous space for the friars below. Imagine eating dinner every single evening while looking directly at Christ's final Passover meal. Leonardo deliberately matched the light source and table height to the real dining hall. Look closely at the geometry. Leonardo used one-point linear perspective, a revolutionary Renaissance tool, to organize every architectural element toward a single point. The vanishing point sits precisely at Christ's right temple. Leonardo even hammered a nail into the plaster right there, running strings outward to calculate every receding diagonal line in the room. Christ forms a calm, stable triangle at the exact center. This geometric stability symbolizes divine perfection and peace, anchoring the intense emotional chaos breaking out around him. Notice the disciples. Rather than lining them up endlessly, Leonardo grouped 12 men into 4 distinct clusters of 3. Geometry creates rhythm, narrative balance, and intense drama across the table. On the far left, Bartholomew, James, Les, and Andrew react with immediate shock. Bartholomew springs to his feet, hands planted on the table, as the terrifying revelation ripples across the group. In the second group sits Judas. Unlike earlier art traditions that placed Judas isolated on the opposite side of the table, Leonardo places him right amidst the group, leaning into shadow. Judas recoils backward while clutching a bag of silver pieces. His other hand reaches toward the same dish as Christ, visually marking the exact moment of betrayal. Next to Judas, fiery Peter leans forward urgently, whispering into young John's ear while holding a knife behind his back, foreshadowing his violent defense in the Garden of Gethsemane. At the center, Christ makes a poignant gesture. His left hand opens upward toward a loaf of bread, while his right hand reaches toward wine and the shared plate. To Christ's left, Group 3 erupts. Thomas points his finger straight upward, James Major recoils in horror with arms outstretched, and Philip places his hands over his heart in grief. On the far right, Matthew, Thaddeus, and Simon engage in intense debate. Matthew and Thaddeus turn toward Simon, gesturing wildly as they try to process the shocking news. Pay attention to the light. Instead of drawing a floating golden halo over Christ's head, Leonardo uses the natural light pouring through 3 back windows to frame him naturally. Now let's talk technique. Traditional wet fresco required painters to work fast on wet plaster before it dried, but fast-paced painting didn't fit Leonardo's slow, perfectionist nature. So, Leonardo experimented. He created a unique drywall formula combining gesso, pitch, mastic, tempera, and oil paints. This allowed him to paint with luminous detail. It was a catastrophe. The refectory wall suffered from heavy moisture. Because the paint sat on top of dry plaster rather than bonding inside it, the masterpiece began flaking within decades. Over the centuries, humidity, clumsy restorations, a doorway cut through the lower wall, and even World War II bomb blasts severely threatened the painting's survival. Between 1977 and 1999, master restorer Pinan Brambilla Barcelon led a painstaking 21-year restoration, carefully removing centuries of overpainting to reveal Leonardo's original brushstrokes. Today, the painting lives inside a strictly climate-controlled environment. Visitors pass through airlocks to prevent humidity and pollution from destroying the fragile surface. What makes this painting brilliant is what Leonardo called the motions of the soul, moti mentali. He captured authentic human psychology through expressive body language. Notice how soft shadows frame every expression. Leonardo used sfumato, his signature technique of smoky blending without harsh outlines, to give flesh realistic depth and emotion. Medieval and early Renaissance portrayals were often stiff and solemn. Leonardo injected explosive theatrical momentum, capturing a single split second of visceral human shock. Look at the table setting. Clean white linen, delicate glass vessels, bread rolls, and pewter plates reflect Leonardo's obsession with observing real-world physics and light reflections. Above the main scene, Leonardo painted 3 heraldic lunettes featuring the coat of arms of Ludovico Sforza and his family, seamlessly linking the biblical story to his royal patron. The painting marked the absolute peak of the High Renaissance. It proved that art could synthesize complex geometry, natural science, and profound human emotion. Giorgio Vasari famously wrote that Leonardo gave the heads of the apostles great majesty and beauty. Centuries later, artists still study it as the gold standard of narrative design. From one-point perspective and revolutionary geometry to daring paint experimentation, The Last Supper remains one of the world's most influential artworks. Leonardo da Vinci didn't just paint a wall, he painted human nature, frozen in a single momentous pause, a masterpiece of geometry, technique, and soul. This artwork is called The Last Supper, created around 1494 to 1498 by Leonardo da Vinci. It is an experimental dry wall painting that shows Jesus announcing his impending betrayal to the 12 disciples during their final meal. Visually, it stands out because of its rigorous one-point linear perspective centered on Christ, smoky sfumato blending, and dramatic natural light pouring through 3 background windows. It belongs to the High Renaissance period, a time when artists synthesized natural science, human psychology, and classical geometry under the patronage of wealthy figures like Ludovico Sforza. Ultimately, the artist wanted to communicate the inner psychological reactions, the motions of the soul, to divine truth, betrayal, and sacrifice. Art is always open to interpretation, so I want to hear yours. Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Until next time on Chris Explains Art.